No.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you all are doing well, and I hope I'm audible to everyone as well. The presentation is visible to all. If so, please do let me know.
So listen, some webinar we did today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. I think now they send up for that group.
All right, so we'll be beginning with our session. So starting off, today's session is about understanding neurodiversity, embracing differences, and empowering one another. All right. So we'll be going forward with the contents of today's session, which is the introduction, historical context, common neurodiverse conditions, benefits of neurodiversity, challenges faced by neurodiverse individuals, strategies for support and inclusion, case studies and success stories, conclusion, and then we'll have a question and answer session where I will be able to ask questions and we'll clear it out as possible. So starting off, let's watch a small video on what neurodiversity is. Please put a thumbs up in the chat if the video is audible and all of you can hear it.
Just like our fingerprints, all our brains are unique. But for the majority of people, their brains are similar enough that there are largely no obvious differences in how they function. They have differences in things like skills, preferences, and styles. But mostly, their brains mean they perceive the world in the same way. But for others, their brains are more fundamentally different. They have differences in things like social understanding, sensory processing, communication, and information processing. These differences are a result of neurological differences, such as autism, ADHD, dyslexia, and more. This natural variation in our brains is called neurodiversity. Those of us with no neurological conditions are neurotypical, and those of us with neurological conditions are neurodivergent. Neurodivergent people think differently. Their unique perspectives and experiences mean they can often excel at creativity and innovation, have highly specialized skill sets, and an ability to hyperfocus. If embraced, this can be a huge advantage to organizations and society. However, the differences neurodivergent people experience can make life challenging. In order to thrive at work, they often need some simple accommodations. For example, a sensory calm environment to recharge in, or a routine with the same start and end times. Approximately 1 in 7 people are neurodivergent. So not only is embracing neurodiversity critical for a truly inclusive organization, but it also presents organizations with a huge opportunity.
All right, so this video was just a short summary of what neurodiversity is. Now we'll be proceeding further about the detailed session on what neurodiversity is. So we'll be starting off with the introduction. So what is neurodiversity? Neurodiversity it refers to the concept, the screen is clear, right?
Yes, it's cleared.
All right, okay. Great. All right. So neurodiversity refers to the concept that neurological differences are to be recognized and respected as any other human variation. So what does this definition mean? So it basically means that um, just because our brain functions differently, we have neurotypical and neurodiverse. So just because our brain might function differently compared to the others, it does not mean we have to get treated differently. Means it needs to be recognized and respected, similar to any other human variation. Different people have different ways of thinking, processing, understanding, and learning. Like some of us, we prefer the audio way of learning. Some might prefer to read and understand. Some might prefer to watch videos. So we have spatial learning, verbal, auditory learning. I think these are quite familiar for those who are in the education field. These are quite common definitions. So the basic idea of neurodiversity is that there is no particular or no correct way in which a person makes their brain functioning. So each one of us, we function differently. Despite some of us are the neurotypical, so despite being neurotypical, we function differently. We may, like I said, our understanding may be different from what our friends' understanding would be, or we may learn things differently. Like I said, spatial learning, auditory learning, visual learning, mathematical learning. So we each person, like I said, each person learns in a different way compared to the others. So there's no one particular or no one correct specific way in which a person learns. So neurodiversity mainly includes autism, ADHD, dyslexia, dyspraxia, dyscalculia, Tourette syndrome, Down syndrome, which is now known as special education needs and disability. Moving on. The historical context. So how did neurodiversity come into our life? Who introduced neurodiversity? So the origin is it was introduced by sociologist Judy Singer in the late 1990s. Judy Singer is a woman whose mother was who had mild autism, and her daughter had Asperger's syndrome. So Judy Singer, she believed that that there was no what's wrong. There's nothing different in her mother and daughter other than their brains functioning differently, other than them thinking differently, reacting differently. So she introduced the idea of neurodiversity and wanted to celebrate the ways in which each person thinks, in which each person understands and reacts. So she wanted to, her basic concept was that she wanted everyone to come together regardless of their needs, regardless of their disability. So she's also considered as a leader of this movement, given that she has many support groups, and she has cultivated many groups as well regarding neurodiversity. Now, when we talk about the evolution of neurodiversity, we say it goes from the medical model to the social model, from the deficits to the differences. So what do we understand from this? Initially, it was understood that people who were in the spectrum, people who had ADHD or any sort of special requirement, they had just a medical disability, medical issue. But Then Judy Singer, she introduced the idea, she introduced the concept, she gave out examples that no, it's not only about being medically different. It's not a it's not a deficit, it's not a reduction in something, but rather it's just a difference. It's a different way in a person reacts. It's a different way in a way in a person understands. A different way in a person processing, reacting, understanding, learning, these kind of things. So these events past this neurodiversity goes back to around the 17th century, goes back far, far, far away, since it's been discovered by many other sociologists. But Judy Singer was the one who brought it out. And yeah, so as time evolved, as it became more and more into the modern age, um, the word autism, ADHD, dyscalculia, dyspraxia, dyslexia, these kind of things were noted as conditions, not deficits, not a medical disorder, but rather a difference. A difference in, like I said, a difference in where a person required either additional support or no support, given that they are gifted and talented. So, in order for society to cater to majority of the neurotypes is by building the process and environment in which it is adapted to individual strengths. So this is what has happened during the evolution, where society has started to adapt to these requirements of an individual. For example, now we are in 2024. Now you can see many offices where there is wheelchair accessibility for those who are physically disabled. They may have many companies may have some meltdown rooms for those who are in the spectrum or who are facing ADHD, these kind of things. So as time passes, companies, the society in general learns to adapt to these changes, and shape these individuals' future. So what are some common neurodiverse conditions? So we have autism spectrum disorder, which is related to the social communication challenges of an individual and the repetitive behaviors. It is quite a common neurodiverse condition. We see this in many children in the educational field. There are many adults as well who are in the spectrum. Autism range has a wide range. It's not just, okay, communication, behavior, that's it. It's a very wide range. There may be two what do you call this, two features of what a person of autism may display. Means they might have communication issues, they may have behavior issues, or it might be only one, or it might even be three. So it's a very wide spectrum when you talk about autism. And attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, this is also very common. So ADHD refers to inattentiveness, hyperactivity, or hyperactivity, impulsivity, or a combination of both. So a child or an individual may have either only attention or hyperactivity, or they may have both. Dyslexia. So dyslexia is a learning barrier where the individual has a difficulty when it comes to reading and spelling, basically in the English language. So for them, reading and spelling is a bit complicated. It's a bit confusing for them. And dyspraxia relates to the challenges with coordination and the movement of a person. And then we have dyscalculia, which is related to mathematics, a person having difficulty with numbers. Then we have Tourette syndrome, Down syndrome. So these are very common neurodiverse conditions. Now, what are the benefits of neurodiversity? Now, this is a topic that is not thought upon many. They say, okay, you're neurodiverse. That's it. There's nothing. There's no benefit to it. But in reality, there are many benefits to neurodiversity. Some of the three common benefits that I would put out would be the unique perspective. Now, a neurodiverse individual, their perspective, it's quite different to what we may perspect something. So, for example, they have creative problem solving and innovative skills. Now, for example, if I show them, okay, if I show them, I might show them a mug. I might show them a mug, and I would say it's a mug. If someone asks me, what is this? I would say it's a mug. Now, a neurodiverse individual, they might think it as a blue mug, a blue, tall or short mug. Oh, what shade of blue is it? And what is in the mug? Is it water? Is it tea? Is it coffee? So they go in depth. They have a touch for details. So while we look at something that's just been displayed in front of us, a neurodiverse individual might look all around it. They might focus in depth. So they have different, like I said, skills and strengths. Attention to detail, deep focus on interest, pattern recognition. Now, pattern recognition. Now, most of us, we have a routine. So we wake up in the morning, we go for freshen up, then we start off a day. These kind of things, right? Now, a neurodiverse individual, if they, yeah. So a neurodiverse individual, when they recognize patterns, if you kept them to observe you, they'd say your pattern that you'd wake up, you go to the washroom to freshen up, then you go have your coffee, then you prepare your breakfast. So they recognize patterns and defocus on interest. So this is quite common with many neurodiverse individuals where they have a particular interest in something. For example, it can be music, it can be mathematics, it can be English, it can be English in the sense writing, speaking, public speaking, reading, art. So they have a deep focus on interest. So it's not that they jump from one interest to another. They focus on it for a long period of time. And a diverse workforce. Now, having a diverse workforce, neurodiverse workforce, it enhances the team performance and innovation. Now, an idea that you and I may not have, an individual who is neurodiverse, they may get that idea, which would enhance my team performance. Means maybe I have to market out a product, maybe I have to market out this phone. So I might have run out of ideas. And it's very common. The ideas that I'm getting is very common in the industry. Everyone's having this idea, oh, they host a webinar and they introduce the phone, they show the benefits of it and such kind of things. But now a neurodiverse individual, they may give another way to market this product, to market this phone. They may say, we can give out free phones, have them the prototype, have a group of what do you call this, have a group of test subjects to test out the phone for a period of 1 month. This is already been done in the technology industry, but I'm just saying, like, what we might not have, these individuals may have. So they might say we can give it out for a month for the test subjects to test out the phone, the features, whether there's any the trial and error period, basically, whether there's any faults, any improvements need to be made, these kind of things. So it enhances. Having been the neurodiverse will allow us to see the unique perspectives, the skills, strengths, diverse workforce, and such. Moving on. Challenges faced by neurodiverse individuals. As everything has a pro and a con. So now, being neurodiverse, just as there are many pros, there are many benefits, there are also many challenges. Now, what are these challenges? Social stigma, very, very common in today's world. Misunderstanding and prejudice. So many people, I've always mentioned this whenever I have a session, I always mention this, that many people think that by being neurodiverse, the individual is incapable of doing set things or being able to achieve certain things. Now, those who have worked with a neurodiverse individual, we have understood that that is complete and utter social stigma. That is a complete and utter lie. Why? Because yes, I agree that these individuals may not understand this the way we do. They may not react the way we do. They may have the behavior issues. They may not respond to certain things. Yes, but just like that, they are able to do things even more than what we'd expect. Now, when I've worked with children who were just who was 7, he had an interest for music and mathematics. Now, music wise, he used to know to play certain notes that only skilled pianists would be able to play. So at the age of 7, he was able to master these notes, these piano notes that would take years and years to master. Mathematics wise, he was just 7. So it's quite, I think it would be quite understandable when we see that a 7-year-old is able to do 3 to 4 digit division, and that too mentally within a span of maximum 2 minutes. He doesn't need to work things out, no working, nothing. Mentally, he'll see the question, he'll solve it. If it's wrong, he will not write the answer. There's no zero, nothing like that. He'll just look up. Means there is no valid answer for this. Means if the question is incorrect. So just yes, he was diagnosed with autism. He had selective mutism, no behavior issues, but he had selective mutism and he was diagnosed with autism. So it's society thinks that yeah, just because an individual has certain barriers, they are unable to achieve certain things, which is wrong. Yes, which is wrong of them to think of such kind of thing. But in reality, these individuals, if you look closely, if you allow them to showcase their talents, we can see how talented they are, how they understand things, even though they don't show it the way we do. We understand, even though they don't show the way they understand as the way we do, we can understand their styles. Employment barriers, unemployment or underemployment. So when you talk about individuals who are looking into employment opportunities, the second they say that we have a certain barrier, we have a certain disability, we have autism, we have ADHD, companies start having second thoughts. Their application may stand out. They may be the top in their school. They may, academic wise, they may have got A stars in their board examinations. They may be the top in their university. But the second they see that the individual may have autism, ADHD, or dyslexia, dyscalculia, they are little, the companies get a little backward. The reason being that the companies may get afraid that they may not be able to handle the individual's meltdowns, the individual's requirements. So this leads to unemployment or underemployment. So a good example of this is, previously I had a meeting with one of the educators in Spain. She's from Britain. She's from the UK, and currently she's having her own organization in Spain. And while conducting one of her sessions, she had told me that it was in a school. It was a workshop in a school. So she had told that she was dyslexic and she had ADHD. And hearing this, many teachers had come up and had said that they were dyslexic or they had dyscalculia. So sorry. Yeah, so many people, they are usually afraid to put out their neurodiverse needs, that they require certain needs, that they have certain needs, they require certain requirements due to being unemployed or underemployed. So this will not allow them to this will not allow them to the companies to be able to cater to their needs, and they will also have a hard time adjusting to the company's goals, because each company has their own goals and objectives, right? So when the employees are not employees with these needs, when they do not put this out, they are afraid that they will not be able to achieve these goals in the company, and that the company may reject them due to this. Educational hurdles, quite common. Traditional teaching methods may not suit all learning styles. So yes, not, like I said in the beginning, not one size fits all. So each one of us, like each one of you all may prefer the audio and visual learning, whereas I may prefer reading and understanding. So each, just like being neurotypical, and we don't fit into one learning style. Likewise, only neurodiverse individuals, they they need a different way of being taught. They cannot go with the typical presentation, textbook, worksheets, notebook, right? That's it. Exams. That's it. That's not right. That's not the way they cope up with their education. So how we can help them with the educational hurdles is by giving them activities, games, things that you see what they take into interest, and you implement these into their studies. Strategies for support and inclusion. Workplace adjustments. So how can we support inclusive workforce, or inclusive team, or inclusive classroom? Okay. So workplace adjustments can be done used by flexible work hours, sensory friendly environments. We have the meltdown squishy balls, or there's a meltdown room, or such kind of things. And clear communication means the employer and employee, or employee and employee, having a clear communication as to what are the individual's needs. So this can be done during the interview period, where the hiring the HR, the interviewers, they talk to the interviewees, they talk to these individuals, and now, do you need certain requirements? What are these certain requirements? They note it down, and if they proceed to move forward with these individuals, they implement this. Like, they give flexible work hours, they have sensory friendly environments, they have a clear communication, they keep in touch with the employee. How are you feeling today? A weekly report. How are you feeling today? Do you find anything difficult? And they modify accordingly. Educational support. IEP goals, individualized educational plans, and alternative teaching methods. So like I said, we make the IEP goals are usually what can the child do more, which comes under the gifted and talented category. Or what is the child lacking in? How can we improve this? And the alternative teaching methods. Activities, worksheets, colorful worksheets, games. See what the child is interested in and implement those into the child's studies. Means if the child has an interest in art, the child can learn mathematics through art. The child can learn, maybe the child can read through art. There are different ways in which we can implement the child's interests into his or her education. Community involvement, participating in awareness campaigns and inclusive policies. So there are many now here. If you talk about the UAE, there are many fundraisers, there are many community engagement events where they raise awareness, where they host walks, they host fairs, and such to raise awareness of inclusivity. Providing equal opportunities for growth reduces biases. So if you feel now, if you're working in an organization and you are in the you feel that you're a manager, and you feel that yes, this individual, despite being neurodiverse, has proved to be too good for this role. Let's keep a scenario of okay, let's keep a scenario of just a salesman. Okay, a salesman. So the manager feels that the manager, the HR department, let's say the HR department feels that this individual who is a salesman, he, despite being neurodiverse, despite having autism, he has proved to exceed in his expectations. He has bought in a lot of sales. He has done way more than what the company had expected. So he deserves to be promoted. So you provide this opportunity. Despite being neurodiverse, this individual is getting the opportunity to build himself up. Not only does this motivate him, but this also shows the society that these individuals, like I said earlier, these individuals are talented. That despite having a different method of understanding, processing, uh, understanding and processing, or learning, they are able to do things just the way we do it, but just in a different way. Offering assistance where appropriate. So this is common in the educational field. I'm not sure about how it is in the organizations, but educational field wise, when you talk about schools and centers, we let offering the assistance during tasks that the individual might find challenges in. Now we sit with the child. If you talk about education perspective, we sit with the child, and if the child is having a difficulty in, let's say, a mathematic problem, they are unable to multiply they are unable to multiply two multitudes. So instead of just sitting there and we can see the child is struggling. So instead of just sitting there and waiting for the child to ask for the help, we prompt them. Don't you think we can do it like this? Shall we write it in this tabular format? How about this? What is 2 into 3? Write it down. Okay, next one, try it yourself. These kind of things. So we prompt them, offering assistance. And when it comes to the organizations, if you feel that your colleague, that your employee, that your colleague is struggling with something, they may fear to ask it out. As adults, they may fear to put it out that they need this assistance. So if you feel that yes, your colleague is struggling with something or your employee is struggling with something, prompt them, offer them, say, okay, you can try this out. What happened? Okay, this is not working. Yeah, mine is working. Come, let me check yours. These kind of things. So you do it in a discreet kind of way. You don't put it out that, see, you're unable to do it because you're different. It's not like that. You act out as if, okay, you're having a difficulty. Fine, let me help you out. So this is what we do, and yeah, for offering assistance where appropriate. Be flexible and patient. Very, very, very important. You cannot just a child, especially when you talk about a child, you cannot be that if a child is not understanding, you can be like, okay, you don't understand, finish, that's it, we're not doing this. You cannot be in a hurry, you cannot be in a rush. Okay, the child did not understand the question, fine. See, make it simplified. Reword rather than repeat, and in a normal and patient tone. Never show your frustration. This will lead to demotivating the individual's interest in whatever it is. For example, the child, okay, let's talk about this child who's trying to solve a multiplication question. They're trying, they cannot. They're finding it very difficult. I mean, it's a three digit question, 3 digit into 3 digit. Okay, so it's like, let's say 364 into 261. So they're trying, but they keep getting it wrong. So you can see that the child is getting frustrated, that they are unable to. They might start crying, they might start fidgeting. So what do? You cannot be like, okay, you cannot do it, fine, leave it. We don't say that. Oh, okay, come, let's try it. Try this way out. Tabular format. 364 into 261. Okay, 1 into 4 is 4. Fine, right, 4. Okay, 1 into 6 is okay, right. Do this patiently. Show them that you are ready to help them. And then they will also understand. This will also motivate them to keep doing it, despite they will understand that in the future, even without an assistance, that if they are struggling, they can calm down. then they can think out of the box. They can think in a different way to solve the question or solve the problem. Likewise, it goes for the adults as well, individuals as well, as parents or as a friend who is in touch with a neurodiverse individual. Instead of getting frustrated and lashing out on them, what we can do is reword the things patiently. Okay, calm down, sit, take a seat. Do you want some water? Okay, have it. Okay, well, this is what I expect from you. So reword in the sense, simplify what you're saying. Instead of making it complicated, simplify. Moving on. Case studies and success stories. So there are many individuals who are very reputable, who are known neurodiverse individuals. And one of these individuals would be Steve Jobs. He is the founder of Apple. So he's a successful neurodiverse individual in technology. So Steve Jobs was diagnosed with dyslexia. So as a child, he was diagnosed with dyslexia and he struggled with school. Now, dyslexia, as we know it, is a condition where individuals struggle when it comes to the English language, the reading, the understanding part. So he argued that mainstream education lacked practical application. Like I said, not one size fits all, not one learning style fits all. So for Steve Jobs, he would have required maybe a different kind of approach, means a more dyslexia friendly approach when it came to education. And moving on, we have Daniel Radcliffe, who was diagnosed with OCD and dyspraxia. So OCD is obsessive compulsive disorder. It's the repetition and the repetition of an action, certain actions, and the obsessive thoughts. So, and dyspraxia, the condition which affects movement of a person. So we all know Daniel Radcliffe. For those of you who do not know, I think it must be common. It must be known that Harry Potter. He's the actor who acted out Harry Potter. So he got a good audience. He grew up as the lead in Harry Potter, and he had difficulties with OCDs and dyspraxia. And another case study would be he's the successful neurodiverse individual in performing arts and media. And Greta Thunberg, who is a successful neurodiverse individual in environmental activism. She has Asperger's syndrome, OCD, and selective mutism. Now, Greta Thunberg, she is a 16-year-old, but she's from Sweden, and she believes that her Asperger's syndrome, OCD, and selective mutism has helped her a lot with what she plans to achieve. She's an environmental activist. She's very concerned about the world's climate crisis. While the others, I had seen a video where she was saying that while the others in her schooling, while the others would see videos on what happened to the animals due to environmental issues, others after the video, they would be very concerned during the video, like, oh, okay, this is happening. But once the video was done, they just move on. But Greta Thunberg, she had this obsessive thoughts. What's next? What happened? Okay, what can we do next? So she was obsessing over this particular topic, which led her to become a world climate activist. And so she believes that this has benefited her a lot. Her barriers, her Asperger's syndrome, her selective mutism, OCD has benefited her a lot. So concluding, so it is very important to foster an inclusive environment, because just like we want to be accepted into social groups, these neurodiverse individuals, they also want to be accepted into these groups. They also want to interact. They also want to learn about different people, about their preferences, their likes, their dislikes. So they also want to be involved. So it is very important that we foster an inclusive environment, which regardless of their barriers, regardless of their challenges, they feel accepted, which will eradicate stigmatization. So by doing this, we build a more productive and accepting society. And I mean, we are all humans at the end of the day. We all come from we are all different genders. We have ladies, men. We have, we are all coming from different ethnicities, different age groups, and such. So we are all human at the end of the day. So it should be really, it's very important that we foster an inclusive environment to uh to accept neurodiverse individuals as well. The world has started accepting different people from different races, different ethnicities, different ages, different genders. So it's time that the world starts to accept individuals who are neurodiverse as well. So question and answer session now. If any of you have any questions regarding the session, please proceed. You may begin asking your questions. You can either drop the question in the chat box, or you may unmute and ask the question. Yes, Savita. Your question?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. How are you, Savita?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. Actually, about this session, I come to know by one of my friend.
All right.
So, now currently I'm working as a learning support assistant for a autism child.
All right. Savita, are you still here? I think she must have left. Okay. Okay. LOC, we'll move on. LOC, do you teach for learning support assistant? Do you teach in the sense, can you elaborate what exactly is it that you mean? You mean courses, or do you mean strategies? Please elaborate what you mean. I will get back to you. Nosy, does social anxiety and awkwardness in any way relate to neurodiversion? No, no, no. It's not like that. Now, neurodiversity means, in general, neurodiversity means the individual's brain functions in a different way. They require additional support or additional needs, or they may not require any support at all. So social anxiety and awkwardness, no, it does not. Because even me, as a neurotypical person, even I do have some social anxiety at times, and I do tend to get awkward. Sometimes, like in the beginning of the session, I was a bit awkward, but no, it's not related to neurodiversity. Oh, okay. So no, I'm not a teacher. I'm a special educator, LOC. I'm a special educator, and I'm the founder of Gifted Hands, the current organization that's hosting this webinar. I'm the founder of Gifted Hands, but we will be hosting seminars, workshops, trainings for teachers, for shadow teachers, for all practitioners in this field, along with the parents, uh, on the strategies, and for the courses. If there is any courses that you are required, we'll be collaborating with centers to provide this service to you all. A more detailed insight of what Gifted Hands does, because since some of you are new, will be shared at the end of the session once the question and answer session is done. Thank you, Rochelle. Thank you, Mariam. Is there an sure, thank you. You're welcome, Nosy. Is there anyone else who has any other questions? You can get live you can get a live answer, live session, sorry, live response here during the session. For those of you who are still in the meeting room, I'll be launching a poll. So please, if you could, it would be great if you could answer this poll. And if anyone else has any question, please feel free to unmute your mic and to ask the questions. Shuara, the next seminar. Actually, the seminars at the moment, it's not yet. We have not started with the seminars yet. We are just going out with webinars, which is online seminar sessions. The next session is will be in the next, I think, first week of August, if I'm not wrong. Let me just pull up the calendar. Yeah, first week of August. So you will be notified. You all can fill out, when you all fill out the form, we can send the directions. Some of you come from different not who are not in the WhatsApp group and all. We can send you an email with the link for the next next webinar. So our webinars are every 2 weeks. Anyone else has any questions? We'll be concluding the meeting. If no one else has any other questions. So please feel free to ask before we conclude the session. You're all welcome. Okay, so no one else has any questions. All right. Okay, so we'll be concluding the meeting. In that case, we'll be concluding the meeting so now. All right then. All right. So I hope all of you had filled out the poll. all of you had filled out a poll. So hope you all enjoyed the session. You all found the session informative and insightful. Keep an eye out for the next seminars. And yeah, for those of you who are here, who are still here, brief understanding what Gifted Hands does is that we focus on the special education needs and disabilities industry, where we are providing seminars, webinars, trainings, workshops, and soon to be introducing teletherapy. So, teletherapy is a new project of ours, which teletherapy is quite common in the field of psychology. In the field of therapy, teletherapy is quite common, and it's done usually to adults just for online counseling. It's very few institutions that who conduct teletherapy for special education needs. So, uh, so we have having ABA, OT, and speech therapists who will be conducting these therapies. For those who wish to, if you wish to join this project, if you wish to apply as a ABA, OT, occupational therapist, or speech therapist, then you may drop me a message on WhatsApp. I've shared my email, which is maria@giftedhands.com.ae, and the WhatsApp number is also shared over here. So you may drop me a message, and I will share all the requirements to you. All right. Some of you had missed the poll, so I'll be relaunching the poll again. Then we'll be at next meeting. Looking forward to meeting all of you again, once again, in the next meeting. Thank you all for attending today's session.